Okay, folks, how we doing? Got one of them deeper meaning videos for you today. What I'm going to do, and I think this is fitting for the time that we live in, I am going to decode the higher meanings through symbology, through the Greek and Latin language, and through colorization. I am going to decode this movie, The Silence of the Lambs. Okay? Now I'm going to take my time with it. But how many of you know, I seen something today. Somebody was trying to decode COVID-19 or whatever. And I don't even want to say the word anymore. And it was something stupid. Listen, folks, and it's like this, okay? If you don't know how to decode this stuff, don't make an idiot of yourself. I'm being serious. If you don't know how to do it, don't make an idiot of yourself. And whoever that was, where they come up with what they did, I have no idea. I mean, for one thing, you have to take categorically what you see in this stuff, and you have to categorize it categorically for what the term means in a literal sense, or a medical sense, or a biological sense, or a mythological sense. It has to be coined correctly. And I think what they did is they didn't coin it correctly because they didn't go to medical terminology with it. Well, if you don't do that, you're lost because you're completely in a different column you don't even belong in. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't do that. Okay? You have to stay in columns, and you have to stay in arrangements, and you have to stay in your proper place and position for what this stuff means. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be where you should be with it. You're going to be somewhere way out in left field in a completely different table. That's why, I hate to bring this up, but I will. That's why in Kabbalah you got different types of Kabbalistic trees. And that's not really my thing. I'm not trying to use that and say I study that. Well, I do study it, but it's not my religion. But that's why you got different ones, because you got different meanings, guys. It's got to work that way in order for it to be logical, okay? So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is decode this woman. This white skin. Folks, this is showing me somebody that has arsenic poisoning. That's what it shows me. Like Queen Elizabeth I. And these red eyes. That further intensifies that speculation, because that's what arsenic does. I'm being serious. I mean, there has to be a reason why this woman looks this way. And no, she's not some vampire, okay? Now, this color on the Silence of the Lambs here, we're going to go with color first, and then we'll go back to the alphabetical symbology. The color means follow the year, as in the Libra, the fall equinox. Or, and probably it does this, it means war. War against whoever that it's put up against there. So it's a war to silence the lambs. That's what it's showing you. Now this death's head moth, okay? We're going to break it down first from a mythological standpoint. First, okay? Let me say this too, while I'm at it. When we were talking about this Silence of the Lambs being red, and that symbolizing fall of the year in Libra, that only makes sense because this death's head moth would only look that way in the fall of the year, whenever that the frost and stuff was falling. See how the autumnal look is to it? That would have more of a brown or more of a greenish appearance to it right there if it was in the middle of the year. I mean, insects turn like that, guys. So that's fall of the year. That's fall of the year. So, you know, the condition of the woman matched up, the condition of the years and stuff matched up, all that matched up good. And so I trust my terminology breakdowns, okay? Now this death's head moth, in Greek mythology, it stands for a river of dead. And, you know, you may say from a literal standpoint, well, what's all these people going to end up in the river to drink? No, that ain't what I see. What I see is if these people end up dead or whatever, the body is 75% water. And a lot of these people dying would be what? A river of death. Okay? This, also in Greek mythology, it stands for a river called Styx. S-T-Y-X. This does. And that river of Styx is loathing to die. And it's also, Styx is also symbolic of poisoned water from arsenic. Sure is, folks. So there's three things that led to that. I mean, I'm not insinuating nothing. I'm not putting forth anything. I'm just simply deciphering codes. That's all I'm doing. Now, Alexander the Great was poisoned with that stuff. So, you know, that's what it stands for. So that was three things that added up to it there. Now, let's go to the literal meaning of the alphabetical words and what they mean in symbology. Silence, in Latin and Greek, is an audible sound or frequency of low and undetectable rates. What it is, guys. The lamb is an innocent or sacrificial animal. That's what it is. Now, this death's head moth is going to be, I'm going to decipher it. And folks, when I did that, there was a trick to it. Because they're doing something with that death's head moth that 99.9% of the people would not see. Okay? What I'll do is I'll start out with the death. And we'll go with that first. Because that's not affected by the change that I'm telling you about. Or not the change, just the finding of what it is. Death would mean the head, and it would mean the destruction of the head. That's what it means. Death. Head and destruction. Which that's about right. So, you know. Or, yeah, the head unit of destruction. That sounds correct. I don't see anything out of place yet. Now, let's see here. What I'm going to have to do to go any further than that, I've got to stop just a minute and show you what I'm talking about here. Now, folks, most people would never catch anything like this, but I do, because I believe that if you're going to do something, you need to do it right. And if you don't do it right, don't do it at all. Okay? That's just what I believe, and I'm going to stick to that, folks. That's what I'm going to stick to. All right. What is going on right here is this. This hyphen that you see right here in this death's head hawk moth, well, I don't know if any of you all know this or not, but that changes a lot of things. That hyphen does. That changes the words and the symbology of that from, it changes it from English, or dog Latin, in some instances. I ain't gonna go no further than that, dog Latin. it changes it into ancient Latin, folks. And whether you realize it or not, when that happens, these words right here, verses or symbolically, comparing them to these words with that hyphen minus the hyphen, would have absolutely no correlation with one another whatsoever. Nothing. It would not have any meaning. It changes the meaning both of the des and of the head both, and of the apostrophe s and how that's used. It changes it all completely. And I'll tell you what, if you don't believe that, I'll tell you what you can do. Go to a channel. I'm pretty sure I can remember it here. It's called Justinian Deception. I watch those a lot. Justinian Deception, Justin AIN, Deception. And on that channel, go to Deceived into Consent, I think it is. And if that's not correct, come back and see me, and he will explain to you what the deal is with that. But he played a big instrumental role in why I even know those things. To be quite honest with you, Romney did. Romney's taught me many things, folks, about that kind of stuff. And that was a dead giveaway that stopped. It's totally different. All right. Now, what's going to end up happening here is this. We know that the death means head, and it means unit of the head is in destruction. But this apostrophe s, that's going to be tricky now, because the s cannot come back with the death because it's been separated by the pluralism. So what it's going to do is, it's going to have a meaning of s-head, des hyphenated head, s hyphenated head. Then it's going to have a meaning of a double meaning, because this is a plural. It's going to have a meaning of ss hyphenated head. So s head, ss head. Now the s head, let me get my paperwork straight here, because I do go through here and I break this stuff down, folks. I could just sit here and rumble off, but I don't want to tell you something wrong. The s head, all right, that would be just the death and the destruction of the head by total amputation. The s-head would be. So in other words, that means that you're going to be beheaded. The s-head does. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but I'm pretty sure that when you've got a word off to itself like that, that's hyphenated like that too, you've got an old Hindu law that comes in there. And this S becomes the great serpent. Beheaded by the great serpent. About 90% sure that's true, folks. If it was a big H, an uppercase H, I know it would definitely be that. Definitely. And I think the S is that way too. Now, if we take the apostrophe S right here, and we apply that to the pluralism of that S and go to SS hyphenated head, we get this. A unit or a squadron carrying out this destruction upon the said people. Like the Gestapo, folks. You can't make it up. That's what it means. So the S head is the decapitation. Destruction of the head by decapitation. The SS head, that would be plural right here because of that. Okay? That would be a unit or a squadron that carries that out. Like a Gestapo. Being honest with you, folks, that's what it means. Now, if you didn't have that hyphen in there, all of that wouldn't have changed that way. It really wouldn't have. And it takes somebody that knows what they're seeing to see that. That can't be just, there's just not anybody sees these things, folks. That's what I'm trying to say. if you don't know what you're looking at, don't do this. Okay, now the hawk. Let's see if we can get back to where we were. The death's head hawk. Hawk, like hawk moth. That is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's a representative of Apollo, the mythological god of Apollo. And that is Apollo the destroyer, folks. In Revelations, it comes out of the pit. So, that's what that means. Now, the moth. That is a little bit tricky. And that moth stands for scale. And that makes a lot of sense. The scales of the tribe of Dan. That's what it means, folks. And by the way, before I go here, I'm going to show you something that I found out about the scales of the tribe of Dan today in terms of what's being showed in Wikipedia. I'll show you. It's also a symbolic moth of the story of the stinger. And that's like the scorpions and the sting in Revelation 9. Yeah. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to show you here in a little while, that'll have something to do with it. Okay? Now, before I go to, I am going to decode that COVID-19, that these people are saying this or that, and they were totally wrong. It's totally off key. What they had is just not. It's not. So I'll decode it. But anyway, all right. Let's see here. Wanted to make sure I told you everything on that. Yeah, pretty much. All right, let me show you the what I found in Wikipedia that's different here. If I've got it. It was this that was changed in Wikipedia, folks. If you notice, and I'll show you here in a minute, this has all been cut down to what it was. It's not showing what it was showing. I noticed these things, folks. This was not like this 2 months ago. I'll show you what it was. Notice that there's nothing wrote down here, right? And you can't do anything down here either. I mean, that's solid. It's got writing on it. You see what somebody did to it, folks? Now all of a sudden, that deal that we talked about earlier there about about the story of the stinger, they're associated with moth. Well, you could have tied that in Revelation 9 with the scorpion. But see, what I had there a minute ago, I couldn't do it. Why? They cut it down. I'm going to give you an added little bonus today. Given the fact that we have talked about so much death and destruction on this this cover, I'm going to let you guys see. I'm going to let you see some pictures before I go here. Hang on. All right, I got a few pictures to show you. First of all, this one right here. You can take a look at the Knights Templars, folks. It's in Switzerland, and it's on what is the same as the church. Can't make it up, folks. They financed them, okay? Hang on. Well, that right there looks pretty good. Take a look at that. Made in Switzerland, you see it? Won't be made in America, too, before it's over with. Telling you the truth, folks. And you go to the motherland there, which you know where that is, in the Middle East. And people can say what they want to say, folks, but it's awful hard for me to figure out how that God's peoples are running something right there when something like that's on top of the building. But I don't know. Just showing you a few things here. I know. There's the Skull and Bone Society. Yeah. By the way, George W. Bush, he set up his FEMA camps, so you know. And he's got a Gestapo Skull and Bones already. Telling you the truth, folks, I'm not kidding. Let's see here. I think right here he is. Right there. Let's see. See if I can blow him up here. Yeah, I can't get him blowed up good enough. I'll do that for you one day. That's him though, folks. Right there above my finger, right here. That's him. These people are not who you think they are, guys. I promise you they're not. This right here, yo, this is a truck that was passed on the road. You can see the Masonic symbolism. Man, you can see, there it is. You can see the coffins, folks. This is down in Florida. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying nothing. But you see it. Here's the... Ain't it amazing now the man is responsible for this pops up at the last minute. I'm telling you the truth. Hang on. I'll save that other one for another day right here, but I will show you this real quick. Now, I'm not saying anything at all. You can just see what you see there. Now, this right here was the COVID-19 van that came along. And there was this big supposed conspiracy theory, you know, that this was the god Anubis of death of Egypt, okay? And they quickly got on the internet and they debunked that. And they got on the big mainstream news and said, don't be paying no attention to these stupid people that thinks that this is Egyptian stuff of the pharaohs and it's coming from the descendants of the pharaohs of the English right there, and that's the god Anubis. And they said, this is just an aardvark, folks. That's all it is. That's what they said. It's an aardvark. Now, that was the Anubis there when they set it up in Colorado. Don't have nothing to do with this back here. Let's see. Just putting him together there. There's another example of the so-called aardvark, a.k.a. Anubis. You know, it was supposed to have been that. Now, you know, I could have bought that, guys. Maybe that might have been that Anubis aardvark people. Until something rode in behind it. And I said, you know what? I just got to be honest with myself. You know, there's the aardvark. That rode in behind it. Can't make it up, people. I mean, you know, what's that right there? The pyramid of the aardvark? Okay. I don't know. Now, you were talking about this person that he translated that shot today. I'm going to show you what that shot really means. COVID-19. Okay? It's got a hyphen in it, but I'll just show you what it means. Now, when you decode this, what those idiots didn't do, you have to decode this under the logic of medical terminology. Okay? That's what you got to do. Now, the co is real simple. The co means two. You know, just like co-partner or something. That's easy. The vid means together. Okay? So two together. Together. No, wait a minute here. I'm wrong on that. No, I'm correct, but here's the main thing with vid. To judge. There was two different meanings of it in Greek and Latin. To judge and together. Co, two of us, together, the judges. Now, the dash 19, that's a separation right there. And the 19 is a numerical code in medical terminology. Because now actually Greek is even used, folks, in pharmaceutical work. So right here's what it means now. And I'm not saying anything whatsoever. I'm just simply going to write it down. Here's what it means, tau. And here's what that means. I didn't say anything, folks. The only thing I done was interpreted it. And let me show you something here real quick if I've got it. Hang on. That hold together thing, folks. They were talking about that at the big church there for a half a year before this even come out. Unite. I invite you to wear this t-shirt in unity. Not me, pal. Not me. So there you go, folks. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I could go on and on with more of this, but this is enough for today. And listen, if I get thrown off YouTube for this, I didn't make no comments on nothing. There's no comments made on any of this. The only thing I done was translated what this stuff is, and that's it. I didn't sit here and badmouth anybody. The only thing I done was translate the truth. That's it. That's all I done. If you don't believe that 19 means what I just told you right there, you look it up. Tau. T-A-U. By the way, Aleister Crowley, he calls himself Tau Baphomet. You know what that means? Death Baphomet. Death Baphomet. That's what he calls himself, Tau Baphomet. So I already knew what it was. And where it's got the pose of Hermes and the snake on it, on the Baphomet, it was already applicable to the medical thing. So I already knew that too. All right, thank you for seeing my video, and maybe I'll see you guys around. I don't know.